Hey guys, what's going on? It's Ash here coming at you today in Clash Royale. Hope you guys are doing well today. As you can hear, I am still a bit under the weather right now, but I'm powering through for you guys. Today, we're going to look at 7 new meta decks. Let me rephrase that. See the deck on the screen right now, guys? We're not going to be covering decks like this. I'm not going to be speculating on if Giant Skeleton or if Prince will actually become competitive meta right now. Certainly worth a try, but that will be an episode for after the balance changes actually hit next week. Today, I want to cover 7 decks that I think, with a few adjustments, with help of some pros, by the way, a great lineup of pros on today's video, that I think these decks will still do incredibly well in the meta, and we've made, like I said, some adjustments anticipating the balance changes coming at us soon. So we have Miniminter at the top here. Miniminter, our first pro on the channel. As I said, multiple pros on the channel. We have 6 pros, and you're going to have to sit through one replay of yours truly as well. So it's going to be a lot of fun, guys. I can't wait for this video. By the way, all the decks will be linked in the description below, as well as all the pros' social media and YouTube if applicable. So Miniminter is playing the famous or the infamous deck that we saw a lot of by Music Master at the World Finals. It is the double hut or the single hut deck, but it's kind of a spawner in a kind of roundabout way. No Barbarian Hut, of course, the beefiest of the spawners, but it does have Furnace and Goblin Hut. It's kind of like a control deck, but it's really a minor poison deck, okay? So it's like chip, control, and minor poison all meet together, and it's really annoying to play against. As you can see, Miniminter going against somebody who's playing bait at the bottom. Actually, guys, I do think that bait will still be viable. I think that hog decks and bait decks will still be viable in the meta. I don't think that the nerfs were big enough to justify panic, you know, so I think that if you're a hog player, I don't think you have anything to worry about, honestly. I think the hog will still be completely viable, although we're not going to be covering any hog decks in today's video. Also, in the description below, we have timestamps of when every deck was played, so you can search by your favorite win condition, maybe just watch a few matches if you're not interested in, say, a siege deck, which is coming up next. So you can see the premise behind this deck. I'm going to have Music Master on the channel to describe this deck, and it's actually, I take that back. I am having Music Master on the channel, but I have Thunder, the guy who originally played this deck, at least competitively. I'm going to have him on the channel pretty soon. He is from Nova Elite. I can't wait to have him on. He's a really good and underrated player. So we're going to get behind this deck and do like an in-depth guide. But for today, you can see the premise is pretty simple, right? You're going to be minor poisoning, especially into double elixir time, and you're just going to get a ton of chip damage between your archers that you're going to be splitting, between your goblins that are spear goblins that are spawned out of the goblin hut, and between your furnace. It's a relentless attack that really is, you know, annoying. It's just annoying if you're going against it, because as soon as you send in that miner, you can see the opponent even has Princess here, and she can't do anything against this deck. It's really irritating to go against, and you can see Rocket is not going to be enough to do it here. We're going to mix, by the way, a healthy variety of ladder decks mixed in with tournament level standard decks, so certainly stay tuned to get the deck that suits you the best. So there you go, Miniminter. Huge shout out to Miniminter. You can find his information in the description below. Now, I told you, I warned you, you're stuck with me for one replay. This is an Xbow deck that's been modified to include guards. So we're going against a balloon cycle deck here. I was kind of worried that it might be a lava loon deck, but either way, this deck's actually really strong against both lava loon and loon. I think that lava loon might be making maybe a slight comeback here. We'll have to wait and see, but lava loon is certainly still viable on ladder. We'll see if it kind of enters in the competitive scene anymore after the update changes. So here you can see I'm setting up an Xbow over here in the right lane. My opponent fireballs, I believe here. Does he? No. Next sequence. But either way, I get a lockdown. I'm actually going up against a Golem balloon deck, now that I remember the replay, which was pre-recorded. So a Golem deck, again, a Golem balloon deck is basically the hardest of hard counters for an Xbow deck, and I was still able to come away from with the victory here. And you can see the power of Ice Wizard, Tornado, and then guards added to the mix are just incredibly strong here. You can see the opponent really can't even get to my tower at this point. I'm going to Ice Spirit to lure those goblins in from the Goblin Gang. One guard still alive, baby. Now remember, this was recorded before the balance changes actually went into effect, so this deck ought to be even much better with the guards added to it. So here we go. Ice Wizard's going to get one hit. Ice Wizard, my favorite legendary card. Most of you OG subscribers out there know that. But at this point, you know, he's not doing much, so I'm just going to take the rocket value here. Not incredible value, but I'll take it for a 4 for 6. Now, of course, rocket damage will change down 5% on crown towers after these latest round of balance changes come through. But I'm not too worried about it, to be honest with you. Okay, so this time I decide to use the defensive Expo here because, let's face it, I can just rocket cycle my opponent. So here we go, luring the balloon in. I drop that Ice Spirit. It takes forever to drop, jeez. And then it goes onto the Golem instead. Luckily, I didn't need it. I used a log there. I'm still able to really mitigate any big damage onto my right tower. So here, moving into double elixir time, I know all I really have to do is defend. I think I'm going to leak a few elixir here. I thought about dropping a rocket. I thought that would have been a bad move, so I split guards in the back instead, and I put down defensive Expo, getting ready to pull that Golem to the right side. That way I can rely on my Ice Wizard and my Tornado to do some work on the other side of the Princess Tower. You can see, guys, how we're using this deck defensively. It's really, really strong defensively, no matter what you're playing against. So even though I ran into a hard counter, look at those guards bleed through that Night Witch there. I'm going to go ahead and log here. Great log value. Take care of the rest of the Goblin Gang there and the Ice Spirit as well. And he's coming at me pretty strong here, pretty relentlessly in the left lane. But you can see, like, you know, whatever he throws at me, I have an answer, like, on tap. So I'm not super worried about this deck. I hold off till the very end. I get a rocket down. Now all I have to do is defend. 309 HP. He's desperate. He's loading in on the Goblin Gang and the Ice Spirit when he knows that I have the log in rotation. Probably just trying to cycle to that last balloon as his very last chance at getting any damage onto my left tower here. He does get a fireball and a balloon death damage. No, he actually misses with that, but either way, I really love this deck for the new meta, guys. I think it suits the new Mortar and Expo decks. I think are going to be incredibly viable. So feel free to use that deck if you're an Expo user or if you just want to get a little bit better at Expo. So here we go. We have, it's TMD Aaron, formerly, now he's Nova Aaron. Aaron is the beatdown god, beatdown champ. You guys saw him in so many contests, SEA, CCGS, and of course King's Cup 2. Aaron, just a really good player. Now he's playing this Golem deck that the reason I call it a new meta deck, or I say it's been adjusted for the new meta, is because it doesn't have a pump in it. It actually has the cycle card. We have Ice Spirits in it instead, and it can cycle pretty quickly in this deck. We also have 3 spells. We have Fireball, we have Zap, and we have Tornado. Tornado, to a lot of people's surprise, did not get a nerf in the latest round of update changes. So what can we take away from that? Well, it might be a good idea to add Tornado to your deck. It's a really strong card. I wouldn't be surprised if it does get nerfed in an upcoming balance change, but we'll have to wait and see here. A good zap by Aaron. Now notice that Aaron has no pump, but he does have the Flying Machine. The Flying Machine saw a lot of action in competitive play in CCGS. I think it's a really underrated card, and it can be annoying as all heck. You can see he actually diverted the princess's attention from to the Golemites instead of the Flying Machine there, leaving that left tower with 19 HP. Ouch, that really hurts. And you know what? The opponent had everything that you could ask for defensively. He even had the Inferno Tower and still wasn't able to get the job done defensively there. That was a really unfortunate situation for the defender, Miguel BR. Okay, so here we go. Now it's defense time. So with this deck, once you have the lead, especially early on like this, that's a huge advantage, and you don't want to let it slip through your fingers. So what you want to do is just use that Tornado. Make sure you always have your Tornado up, because Tornado is really one of your most powerful cards in this deck defensively. It actually, you don't have a lot of splash damage in this deck, so of course you have to be smart. You know, you can see Aaron just used a Fireball against a Goblin Barrel defensively, and that's a smart play. I didn't mention this at the beginning of the video, but I do think that bait is going to be incredibly viable and still popular in the game. So here we go. We have Tornado in hand, but we don't need it that time. We use Zap instead, and with the Flying Machine, able to get no damage, or avoid any damage, excuse me, onto that left tower. This time we'll go ahead and activate that King Tower. Now, after the King Tower activation with only 30 seconds left, the opponent really has nothing they can do here. Just a really robust defensive deck, you know? It might not look like it at first glance, but between Fireball, Tornado, and of course Flying Machine, which does puts out a real decent amount of chip damage, or I should say point damage, is just a really solid deck all together. And that is Aaron's favorite Golem deck, only going to be better now that you don't have to rely necessarily on that Elixir Collector to have success with it. So we're going to go ahead and include Aaron's information as well. Thank you, TMD, aka Nova Aaron, for coming on the channel. Now let's see what deck we have on tap next here. We have Tag. Is it Tag? No, we're going to scroll up, guys, because Three Musketeers is still completely viable. Now, this is AK-47. A lot of you guys have been asking me to bring AK on the channel here. We're going to watch one of his best replays against Censor is God. Censor is also one of the best players in the world. When I was bringing these pros on, I asked them, make sure that your opponent is solid. They have a lot of cards 1A. And if it's a well-known name such as Censor is God, by all means bring them on, right? And then I said make sure it's a pretty difficult deck to go against. So you can see here, this is definitely going to be the case. You can see AK-47's going against a Mega Knight deck with poison, 2 counters to the Three Musketeers in the pump. So it's going to be a really annoying deck to go against. So how is he going to deal with it? As a matter of fact, guys, stay tuned for this one because I believe Censor gives an early GG and it comes back to bite him. So here comes AK-47 going down that right lane. Does make contact with that battle ram onto the right tower. However, ooh, that zap just basically kills that swarm that was so close to right tower down there for AK-47. Meanwhile, that Hog Rider is going to go ahead and get a lot of damage on the left tower, but he's also going to take down that right tower of Censor there. And, you know, opting to kind of not trade towers by any stretch of the imagination, but this is a pro play right here, guys. So AK could drop his Ice Golem right now, but he opts not to. He opts to pump instead and bait out the poison out of Censor's hand. This is a really interesting play, and this is where Censor gives the GG, I think, right? Yeah, good game. Because he sees the pump there, he gets more poison value, he takes the left tower, he's got to be feeling really good at this point, and he has Mega Knight, which he hasn't even had to play yet, but that's like the ultimate Three Musketeer counter. So here we go, AK is getting ready for a big push. He drops off that Ice Golem first, and then here comes the Two Musketeers following the Ice Golem, possibly trying to, you know, interesting that he dropped the. I was gonna say I can't think of exactly why he would drop the Two Musketeers on the Ice Golem side, knowing that Censor probably has the Mega Knight. But hey, he's a way better player and a way smarter pro than I am. So here we go. Mega Knight is going to be indeed dropped on the right Two Musketeers. They're going to be gonzo, and now here comes the Minion Horde for AK-47. But Bats and Zap actually counter that Minion Horde. So things, with only 45 seconds left, guys, things are not looking good here at all for AK-47. When I was watching this replay back for the first time, I was like, man, does he even win this? Like, how does he win this? He's going against a really annoying Hog deck with so many counters to his deck, and now he gets even more damage off his right tower, down to 1420 HP. So, again, he's forced to try to counter the Mega Knight the best he can there, but, you know, the minions actually do stay alive. Now, keep an eye on these minions here up at the very top left-hand corner. Meanwhile, he does play Three Musketeers in the pocket. So here comes the minions. Just do it. Those minions are actually going to be what I think those minions? No, the next round of minions, I guess. I was going to say, I know it was minions that ends the game. Okay, it is. Those same minions on that left tower take it down there. Oh my gosh. What an epic ending. But that's certainly a viable deck, guys. And why are Three Musketeers as viable as ever? Well, because you want your opponent to use the Fireball or the Poison or the direct damage against the pump. So even though the pump did get a really significant nerf, you're still going to be getting value out of it, because then you get that spell out of your opponent's cycle and rotation, and you're going to be looking good. Oh, it's our old friend DiegoB. Excuse me, guys. I need a drink, or I'm going to probably croak on stream here. Or not stream, but you guys get the point. All right. So much better. All right, so DiegoB, our old friend at the bottom there, he thinks that, and I agree, that Cannon Cart Graveyard is still going to be an incredibly strong deck, even with the nerf to the Ice Golem. It's incredible. And here we're going to go against Bamin, who's actually a really, really good player in his own right. So this ought to be a really, really decent matchup here. And Diego's going to get a lot of damage on that very first push. And check out the Elixir, guys. They actually came away basically tied in Elixir. Diego's like one behind, but he does have the Mega Minion, forcing the Ice Golem out of Bamin's hand. So really, really crazy start there, getting, 600 plus damage off that tower. I had a little bit of a lag in the replay there. No idea what happened. But either way, activated King Tower there by DiegoB, and now he's going to go ahead and reload with a Ice Wizard behind the tower. So gearing up for another graveyard push, and again, those are the only two lag issues. I don't know what was going on. I was just recording from my device. I guess the game is still a little bit glitchy. Hopefully in this update, they did mention they were going to be fixing a lot of the glitches, so won't have to deal with that anymore on CWA Mobile Gaming. Makes me mad. Anyway, here we go, defense, and you can see Ice Wizard just so strong on defense. Ice Wizard, ever since his buff, not this balance change, but the previous balance changes, he's been, a defensive staple in so many decks, especially in the siege decks and, of course, in graveyard decks. So here we go, Hog Rider. He's going to ignore that Hog Rider now that he has the King Tower activated. Still, he can cycle to the Tornadoes. That was a smart move, using the Mega Minion on the right side rather than using the Mega Minion on the Hog Rider and then having nothing left to defend against that Mega Knight push, which is really strong. He placed the Cannon Cart right in front of the King Tower. Perfect placement there, really mitigating what could have been a really, really, really devastating push there on the right side by Yamin. So here we go again. It's a Ice Golem Graveyard immediate attack here by DiegoB. This is where he gets the most damage of the entire match. Just a really, really smart push there, knowing that he had the Elixir advantage and just punishing right off the bat there. Mega Knight is a tier 2 counter to Graveyard. This is a monster push coming in here by Yamin, but great defense. Again, the power of the Ice Wizard just doing some work, slowing everything down there when combined with the Tornado, and then able to, again, he took some damage there, but he played so well defensively, and this, relentless attack here coming in from Yamin. But guess what? Diego's again able to cycle to the Tornado, and that was basically the coup de grace, guys. That was what's going to end this match. So here we go, Cannon Cart Ice Wizard played right at the bridge there, and this is probably going to be enough to at least get the tower down to poison range. Is it? Not quite. But let's face it, he just stopped that Mega Knight at the bridge. As long as he can defend against this very last Hog Rider push, and he's able to cycle back again to Tornado. Tornado is so crazy right now. I can't believe how strong Tornado is, and I'm so surprised they didn't give it some sort of a nerf. It's just, maybe the skill cap is a little bit higher, but I do think that Tornado is better than pretty much any other defensive card out there right now as far as spells go, or even units. It's like the only hybrid defensive spell / defensive unit card out there. Okay, guys, it's time to get serious. Let's go ahead and bring Tag on the channel. You guys know Tag. Make sure you go ahead and subscribe to his YouTube channel. You can find it in the description below as well, in his social media. He is playing his favorite deck, and of course, it's still viable. This is the deck that he absolutely dominated in King's Cup 2. I think he only took one loss with this deck. It's just so strong, so annoying to go against. Of course, it's still going to be completely viable in the new meta, and I asked him for a difficult matchup. Well, this is a difficult matchup. When you're a Giant deck going against a heavier beatdown deck, a Golem deck such as this, with the Tornado, seeing as he has Tornado, Poison, Baby Dragon, our opponent, and the heavier beatdown deck. And we have, like, the Giant Swarm deck. So just, like, a moment of respect at how difficult a matchup this is for Tag here. So here goes Tag playing pretty good defense against that Golem, saving the Minion Horde for the Golem on the right. And then he counterattacks with that Miner. The Mega Minion's going to lock onto the Miner. And look at that. Oh, that Ice Spirit just a moment too late there, unfortunately. And then he loses all the health on, or most of the health, onto that Mega Minion, his opponent there. What a funky clan name his opponent has. Jeez. 2016 022 1100 307. All right. Sounds solid. That's a good clan name if you ask me. All right, here we go. So it's minions onto the Night Witch. And now notice, One thing you want to, I'll go ahead and link the video, by the way, that Tag did with me when he shared this deck. But one thing that you want to be very cognizant of is when your opponent has their counters in hand, we have to deal with Ice Spirit mixed with Zap. We have to deal with Baby Dragon, Tornado, Poison. There's a lot to deal with in this deck that we're playing against. So you want to make sure you're not like, in this situation, you're not going to throw down your Goblin Gang at the bridge when they already have the Baby Dragon ready there to defend. You're not going to double up on your units supporting the Giant unless your opponent A has no counter in hand, or B, making sure you redirect that Baby Dragon into the other direction, So normally, 9 times out of 10, what Tag's going to do here is make sure that he's only playing one support troop at a time as far as the swarm troops. So he's playing minions here. That's going to go ahead and bait out the opponent's poison, but he's going to wait on anything else. Now he plays the minion horde, and he plays it behind the golem so they won't die. If you play the minion horde in front or on top of the golem, they'll all die on his death damage. So smart play there by Tag. Again, obviously knows his stuff. A good giant placement, redirecting that Baby Dragon, avoiding all tower damage onto that left tower. And here we go. It's Minion Horde time. Minion Horde, but he has a lot of counters, the opponent here. But it doesn't really matter. That Giant's still going to be relentless, kind of lumbering towards that tower. A Fireball and 2 swings from the Giant will end the game in favor of Tag, beating a deck which, let's face it, was just stacked with counters against him. So GG Tag. Again, shout out to Tag for coming on the channel. Now, it's Isaporon. Isaporon is one of my favorite Japanese players. I actually had Isaporon, and I had also Kent Golem, who actually met in London. Pleasure meeting Kent. I had him share a deck, but now it's just not viable anymore with the new meta changes. So unfortunately, had to cut that one out. But huge shout out to Kent Golem just the same. So here we go. Isaporon is one of Japan's best players, certainly one of the best players in the entire game. Forget just Japan. And here we go here, going against this, another Mega Knight deck. Mega Knight, another one of those cards that surprisingly didn't get a nerf. A lot of people thought that Mega Knight would get a nerf. Me, I'm okay with him not getting nerfed because, yes, he's really strong. He has a high win percentage and a pretty low usage rate, which is not unexpected given the fact that he's a legendary card. However, the risk is really high. I don't mind if cards like Mega Knight, which cost 7 elixir, are really strong, because there's a lot of risk reward. You can counter a Mega Knight very easily with just Bats and an Ice Golem for 4 elixir, picking up the positive elixir trade. So although he's very powerful, he is certainly a risk as well. He can be kited very easily. So I think that Mega Knight, while being very, very strong, I'm okay with him not getting a nerf this round of update changes. Of course, we should still monitor it. So Isaporon is playing the bait deck with the Tornado. So why did I include this deck when, a few of the cards in it, Goblin Barrel and Goblin Gang, did receive a nerf? Well, it's pretty simple. Basically, I think that bait is still going to be incredibly viable because think about it. Bait decks, they're not necessarily predicated on, getting every last hit point of damage. It's catching your opponent without any counters in hand and connecting big, like you saw Isaporon do on that last sequence on the right tower. So I think that, if your Goblin Barrel is going to get 800 damage instead of 840 damage, I think that, sure, it is a little bit of a nerf, no doubt about it, but I still think that it was the strongest archetype inside the entire game before the balance changes. I still anticipate it being very, very strong, with the caveat that I think the Tornado version is going to be much stronger than the Inferno Tower version. The reason I say that is because they did fix in my mind, it was kind of a buff to the Inferno Tower where now it does reset on the guards. So I think that with more guards into play in Dark Prince and Cannon Cart, basically the shield now resets the Inferno Tower before it would bleed right through all the guard HP as well as the shield HP. And with more guards in the game, I think that using Inferno Tower is going to be more difficult, especially in a deck like this. You can see Isaporon really absolutely dominating in this match here, able to finish it off and barely take any damage in the process. So guys, as soon as he goes ahead and gets how is he going to end this? How is he going to end this? It's a log and that will do it because he's level 13 with a max log. I forgot my damage, guys. So guys, thank you so much for powering through with me despite my cold. I know my voice sounds atrocious, but hey, it's been a pleasure to share all these decks with you guys. I want to give a huge shout out to all the pros who have helped made this video happen. Again, all the information will be in the description below. Guys, thanks so much for watching, and as always, shout out to my YouTube partner, Bren Chong. You can find his information in the description below as well. Guys, take care.